Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world. I welcome you to this amazing platform. Thank you so much for joining us once again on this platform. Remember, this is Biafra Exodus Hard Talk TV, a platform where we bring information that has to do with Biafran government. We bring information that is coming from the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra. In this platform, we bring information that has to do with the restoration of independence of Biafra. If you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Like and share to all platforms. Don't keep it to yourself, because this message must be preached. My fellow Biafrans, in this very episode, I am going to share with you a joint press briefing between the Prime Minister of Biafra, Republic of in Exile, and the President of Eritrea, Government in Exile. Listen to this very press briefing and you're going to learn a lot. Let's watch together and hear what they have to say.
Going back to Prime Minister, the Honorable Simon Ekpa, can you give us some of the reasons why the Biafran people needed to be independent of the Nigerian government?
Thank you very much, Mr. Haibu, for that question. Biafra was forcefully joined together with Nigeria, other ethnic tribe in Nigeria, other ethnic nationalities. And during this forceful union, which was named the Amalgamation of 1914, the people that made up of the Niger area, which is today Nigeria, were not consulted. And people did not consent to find themselves, into this forceful union. And it may interest you that it is only in Nigeria that we have what is called a dangerous diversity. And in this dangerous diversity from 1914, we have seen Nigeria supervising death of millions upon millions of indigenous people, both those that were massacred and killed by the terrorists that are invading Nigeria from other parts of the world. Unchallenged, the history of the northern Nigeria, which was conquered by a man called Usman Dan Fodio, is what they are struggling all the time to replicate in this modern century. So Biafra found themselves in this forceful union with a very dangerous diversity, diversity of culture, diversity of religion, diversity of language, everything. We are pulled apart from each other. Of course, it is not just about this diversity, but also the killings for a particular targeted purpose. And everybody understands that during the pogrom against the Biafrans in the north in 1945, it resulted to what led to the war, because the leaders of Biafra then decided that we can no longer continue to watch our people getting killed every day in Nigeria. And that led to the declaration of Biafra in 1967. Now, fast forward. After the war of Biafra in Nigeria, the genocide ended, there was something they called Triple R, which was introduced by the then president military ruler called One. And of course, on that ground and basis, Biafrans lay down their weapons. After that, triple R
network.
I think we're having some challenges in this.
Yes. Until.
Am I being heard?
Yeah, I think yeah, we have some
The network problem.
Problems. Yeah, we can go forward and then
Yes,
come
and then
back.
you come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Come back to you,
Yeah,
Mr.
I can continue. It is
Okay. Good.
I can
Good.
continue.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is one of those things we see in a movement like this. You're gonna see cyber attack. You're gonna see all manner
Exactly.
of
Yes.
interruption.
That's true.
When the opposition and the evil enablers and their inventors are trying to disrupt this wonderful and historic program. So we are not going to be moved by all the interruption and all that. We'll continue to focus on why we are here today. Whenever you stop hearing me, please call my attention. And when I also notice there is a problem on this side, I will also adjust. So going forward,
Keep
today,
the fight on, Mr. President, Prime Minister. Keep the fight going on. Yes, we will continue.
Thank you. So going forward, Nigeria today no longer function as a law-governed state capable of resolving its political problem, socio-political problem, the diversity problem, the ethnic crisis, the invention of the jihadist movement all over Nigeria. Nigeria have demonstrated that they are incapable of solving these problems. And so we have witnessed the massacre of people within the Nigeria state. We have witnessed the killings of indigenous people, and these killings is spreading very wide up to now to the southern part of Nigeria. And of course, these terrorists are struggling also to invade Biafra land. And they are being backed by the Nigeria state. As we see today, the Nigeria government is being controlled by these extremists. And then, of course, the Biafra people are completely different people from different background, different ethnic nationality, different religions, and all that. So we decided that we will not rely on Nigeria protection, otherwise the original plan of a man called Usman Danfodio will come to fruition. Biafra decided that we are going to take this upon ourselves, as the leaders of the Biafra in the 60s have created the awareness and, of course, tried to defend Biafrans that are getting killed all over Nigeria. And, of course, that particular attempt failed in what we see as a genocide. Nigeria have not been tried in any court for the starvation of Biafrans and the war crime against Biafra people. Today, Nigeria security agents are all infiltrated by Boko Haram and other terrorist groups. And these terrorists are being sent to different parts of Nigeria, either to directly attack and enable the conquest of other ethnic nationalities, or they are going to be there to supervise and share the terrorists while they sack villages and communities. On a daily basis, we witness hundreds and hundreds of people getting killed, many kidnapped for ransom, and Nigeria government does nothing about these crimes every day. So the Biafra government, both in the homeland and in exile, has taken up the responsibility for defending Biafra people, providing the security that Nigeria has failed to provide. And of course, in this particular quest for our freedom, we decided to use multidimensional approach because we know the complexity of a fight like this, especially in a globalization where all the political correctness, people who believe in political correctness are in power. You will see where people are getting massacred and you overlook it, or you want to use a soft word, to either defend the perpetrators or to ask the victims to calm down and obey law and order. How can you be asking somebody to obey law and order where there is no law and order? If there is no law and order, if there isn't any law and order in Nigeria where we will be, asked to calm down and wait for law enforcement to take its course, you will not have people killed in the first place. The people who are supposed to enforce the law are the people that are killing. And they have become the terrorists because they have been infiltrated. The commanders, generals in the army are all affiliated to Boko Haram and Islamic jihadist movement. So Nigeria started as a secular state from 1960. It was called a secular state. Secular state in the sense that there is no official religion, there is no official language and all that, only language that ethnically, like dialect, and all that the general language, accepted language and official language become English. Today, as I speak to you, Nigeria from the back door have adopted the Islamic Sharia law without referendum. That secular state has disappeared to the blue moon. In Nigeria today, under our very own eyes, the northern state adopted Sharia law without referendum. Because in that northern state, you have people who are not Muslims, people who migrated from other parts of Nigeria to the northern state, and they are not Muslims. And during the time they were migrating, Nigeria constitution says secular state. And today, they found themselves in an extreme Islamic Sharia state, where their heads are being cut off, where they are stoning them to death at any provocation, where the people who don't even know anything about the religion are being stoned to death. And of course, those that are made open, we'll talk about it. One of the recent one is a lady called Deborah. Deborah is not a Muslim. She's a Christian. She was accused of blasphemy, even when she's not part of their religious movement. She was stoned to death. We are not against Muslims. We are friends of Muslims. We have Muslim friends all over the world. But what we are saying is that let live and let live. If you must have a Sharia in Nigeria, and those people who have agreed to have a Sharia law in their state, they can have their independence. Not necessarily deceiving the people in the sense that they are in Nigeria, where you have a secular state, only for them to realize that if they talk anything against their religion, they're going to get killed and stoned to death. And they are still living in that delusional state of a secular state. Today, Nigeria is being recognized by the United Kingdom as one of the Islamic states. That was the exact word that Macron used, that Nigeria, an Islamic state, was one of those countries that were negotiating the ceasefire with Israel and Palestine. And of course, supporting the killing of Israel, the invasion of Hamas against Israel territory, which recorded killings and abduction of innocent women and children. Now, again, the dangerous diversity is this. While Nigeria will go to the UN General Assembly to vote and support the state of Palestine, they kill us with guns just for coming out to protest and say that we are ready to also have an independent state. Biafra has suffered the highest, they have become the highest victim in order to continue to push the message and narrative of one Nigeria. We lost 3 million children, not to gun, not to bomb, but to starvation. And that was the war crime committed, one of the war crimes committed by Nigeria. And of course, they have probably escaped being tried for that crime because of the time the UN and of course the International Criminal Court came in place. Having said that, it is not enough that after these 3 million children died, today we are facing times 1,000 of what led to the war that supervised the death of over 3 million. Is it not reasonable for the entire globe, the entire world, those who participated in forcing Biafrans and killing Biafrans and advising Nigeria on how to do blockade over Biafra. Are they not ashamed of themselves today that the Nigeria they cherished and loved so much has collapsed? Nigeria has no other thing to do other than to kill, to lie, involve in international crime, fraud, internet cyber crime, and what have you. Terrorism is on the high rise. Internet fraud is on the high rise. Everybody in Nigeria, if you are not involved in war crime or the other, you will never survive. So Nigeria breeds criminals. And because some of us who have come this far to know how to build a state and make a society a better one, we have risen up to say we will end this particular subjugation of our people, making sure that we do not excel, making sure that we don't develop ourselves, and the only way that we can come out of this subjugation is to have our independent state or Biafra. And I want to make it very clear that we are not declaring independent state of Biafra. Rather, we are restoring the already declared independence. It was declared in 1967. So we have a history. And today, everyone have seen the nosedive Nigeria, how Nigeria is nosediving. And we are not the only country or the only nation that are following this path. It may also interest you that Lithuania, who is one of the powerful countries today in this part of Europe, was also facing similar thing in the past before they actually declared their independence. So the declaration of the Lithuania was actually the restoration of an independent state which they initially proclaimed in a relatively recent past as a then. And Lithuania redeclared the restoration of their independence. And that's exactly one of the paths the Biafrans are following today. We will issue a declaration to restore our lost independence, which was declared in 1967. And then also a similar thing proclamation was made by a nation called Sahawari. I don't know how many of you know this nation called Sahrawi, the Arab Democratic Republic of Sahrawi in Western Sahara. Their proclamation of the 1976 is exact thing that the Biafra, of course, almost the same thing that Biafra are following today. In this region, in this country, their liberation witness, at least, they took over some portion of their territory and Morocco controlled the rest. And those areas where they are controlling, where they are very strong, is called a free zone. So people should understand that if there is no event, there is no history. You have to create the solution that suits your problem. And what we are doing today is the combination of many process, of many procedure, of many pathway to freedom. Because Nigeria is a complex state, especially with vested interests of the world powers. So what we are trying to do is to profile the solution to the, imagining an upsurge of terrorists from Africa. We imagining as a nation will prevent this upsurge of terrorists. And the emergence of Biafra as an independent state will also restore peace and lasting peace in the Sahel region. This is a fact. With the way this whole thing is going today, there is a need for Biafra to emerge so that the West and those who believe in civilization will have real alliance in Africa. As it stands today, there is no real alliance in Africa. And what I do not believe is when they say the Western influence. There is nothing like that in our own ideology. What we have is civilization influence. And we are embracing civilization, and civilization we will embrace. We continue to follow the path of civilization, because that's exactly the pathway to a better society. Nigeria today has opened what they call Center for Eradication of Innovation. Innovation is part of civilization, and they are eradicating it. So we have different ideology, different belief. Everything is different. Everything is pulled apart. So the only way we can develop ourselves, attain our potentials, is to govern ourselves in the name of self-determination. So this is the reason we are saying that the world must listen to us now. We have solution, especially to all the problems that are emanating from the West Africa, Sahel region, and of course, the issue of the upsurge of terrorists. The emergence of Biafra will first of all cut all the interest that the terrorists have, which made them to start flowing into Nigeria. And you know what that interest is? They are looking for safe haven where they can tap on the natural resources, make money, sponsor attack in Europe, sponsor attack in America, and the emergence of Biafra will stop that. Thank you very much. There are many things to say, but I know that a lot of people are here who want to say something. Thank you very much. This is the reason.
It's okay. It's okay.
Or die is our logo and our slogan going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for all this brief, Prime Minister Simon. And the next question will be Mr. President, Mr. G. Eritrea is an independent nation. So what is your government in exile struggle all about? And if you are not fighting for independence like the Biafran people, what is missing from the Eritrean people? Mr. President, are you are on mute?
Yes, I am. I say before I proceed with the question, I want to commend the Prime Minister for well articulated and also detailed. I think this is more history we have than ever. A lot of people may not be familiar with the Biafran issue. They might think it's a dead issue, but as you can see, it is well alive and moving. We also have a good friend in them. There's a lot of familiarities that we carry in common, and I think we are together in this fight. Coming back to your question, Mr. KHA, as you might know, yes, Eritrea is independent since 1991. And unfortunately, Eritrea has had high aspirations to govern itself as an inclusive, peaceful, and democratic administration is what we expected. In that particular 1991, not only Eritrea, Ukraine became independent the same year. They decided to go the democratic way. Unfortunately, we went through a dictatorship. And this authoritarian regime we have today, it hijacked the dreams and aspirations. And the Eritrean people have found themselves in a nation without law. We don't have constitution or even any necessary institution. At this juncture, for the last 33 years, no election, no constitution. Where in the world do we hear, where in the world that it exists except in this small, tiny Eritrea? You know, we earned our independence through a long, bloody struggle. And we paid dearly, many sacrifices. But all this, Eritrean people, dignity, the freedom, it has been betrayed. The struggle hijacked by the oppressive regime only to serve the interest of the few. The economy depleted, and the people's social fabric fragmented. So in order to change this is why from that independence, we have people that are not free inside Eritrea. People that live in fear. People that are jailed without any good reason. In this juncture in our history, we have had over 100 factories in our nation, so long before any African nations, but he kind of closed them all so people cannot function. People cannot work. The single university we had